Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for your interest in applying for a Florence Nightingale Foundation Leadership Scholarship. My name's Professor Gemma Stacey and I am Director of the Florence Nightingale Foundation Academy. This short presentation will aim to give you the best possible chance at succeeding in your scholarship application. I'll talk you through some of the practical requirements, the questions that we ask and what the shortlisters are looking for in some very excellent answers, and also some common mistakes that we often see in our scholarship applications. We'll finish off with some top tips so that you can get the best possible chance of succeeding. So it is an online application process, and I would suggest that you start to explore what's required in that form as soon as possible. You can complete aspects and return back to it. You will need a letter of support from a senior sponsor within your employing organisation, and that has the function of both agreeing to release your time to attend the scholarship and really fully engage with the learning, and also to agree to provide a £1,000 employee contribution towards the cost of your scholarship. We will also need evidence of your professional registration and your employer information and the details of your finance department so that we can make that invoice if you are successful. You'll also need to provide answers to some very specific questions. There is a 250 word limit to each of those questions, so make sure you think through how you can use that small amount of words to really articulate your strengths. So the questions in the form are based around these particular areas. There are 4 questions altogether and some additional prompts to help you think about the kinds of things we're looking for within that. So starting off, it's about your role in your team. So what we want to hear here is just a brief description of what it is that you do and how you work within a team to achieve that, what your role is within that team and how you lead others, and locally and regionally, potentially not nationally, depending on the level that you're at in your organisation. We also want you to discuss the key features of your leadership approach. So tell us about your applied approach to leadership. Tell us about the ways in which you have led to have a positive impact, either on the clinical area that you're in or the team that you work within. We also want to hear all about your goals and aspirations. What will this scholarship mean to you? How will it enhance you as a leader? And what impact will it have both on yourself, your team, and the organisation and people who are receiving the services that you're responsible for? We want to know about how FNF scholarship is specifically going to help you reach these particular goals. So why FNF? Why this scholarship? Why is this the development opportunity that is most appropriate for you? And how will you make the absolute most of it so that it does have impact on your personal development, your professional development, and what will you go on to do with this opportunity? How will you make change? How will you start to have influence? So in other words, if we put this in simple terms, who are you? How do you lead? What difference do you want to make? And how will this specific scholarship enable you to do that? There are some common mistakes that we see really regularly in our scholarship applications. Firstly, people give very short and limited answers, so maybe a line or two that doesn't give us the full breadth of detail that we need in order to make an assessment of that person's credibility, ability, and motivation to undertake the scholarship. Sometimes people leave lots of spelling or grammar errors, and what that implies is that the application has been rushed and there hasn't been opportunity for thorough proofreading. My suggestion is that you take a note of what the questions are, you do that work maybe on a Word document and you share it and get feedback from others. Those others can be critical friends, potentially other scholars that you're aware of in your area. Often we get quite impersonal or generic responses. They feel like they could have been written by anyone or even lifted out of a textbook, for example. So we really want to hear about you specifically, your individual motivations, values, drivers, and the reason why this particular opportunity will make a difference to you specifically. The goals that people talk about can often be quite generalised and focus on feelings such as increased confidence. What we really need to be able to hear is, what difference will it make to your actions and your behaviours? What impact will this have on a tangible way that will mean that our sponsors will say this is worth the investment in this person? We often also see that there is no reference to the specific scholarship or the organisation at all. So we hear nothing about Florence, we hear nothing about the Florence Nightingale Foundation. So it doesn't feel like the person has really thought through why this opportunity is key to them. And also why this opportunity and not others. So there are obviously other leadership programs out there, there are other developmental opportunities. Why would you choose this particular one, and why should we choose you? Because this will be a very competitive process. So finally, some top tips. Give yourself loads of time. We'll open for applications 2 months before they close the deadline. So there's plenty, ample time for you to really engage and make sure that your application is the best it can possibly be. Use the full word limit. Make sure that you use each of those 250 words for each of those questions in a way that really does demonstrate both your commitment and motivation to undertake this opportunity. Really think about the structure of your answers to your questions and how you articulate your points. Try not to be too generic and vague or use lots of fill-in language. Be very specific and to the point so that the shortlisters can really clearly see why you should be highly scored in terms of your answers. Think about that first paragraph, the answer to that very first question. How will you grab the attention of the shortlisters so they say, yes, this is one that I need to read in real detail and real depth and really understand what this person wants to gain from this opportunity. As I mentioned before, make it personal. Make this about you, your values, your motivations, the moments of pride you have had in your leadership experience so far, so we can really get a sense of why this is important to you. Give lots of examples, try and bring things to life. Sometimes we find people will talk about generic leadership approaches or styles or attributes. We want to know what that means in the real world and how you have embodied those things. Be very specific about the impact of your scholarship. So thinking about you as an FNF alumni, what would your case study be? How would we really celebrate you and the influence that you have made as a result of your opportunity? And also think what Florence might say, potentially bringing in some of Florence's ideas, maybe quotes into your application and applying it to why you particularly should be successful in this opportunity can really highlight to the shortlisters that you're somebody that understands we are here to continue Florence's legacy and the scholarships is our primary way to do that. So that's all from me. My final word is huge good luck. And those of you that are successful at shortlisting, we will see you at interview.